chapter 7, last so many years, whenever we think of chapter 7, there is a falashruti that Srila Prabhupada gives. Sukdev Goswami gave and Srila Prabhupada translated. Etad ja adi purushasya mrigenda lilam daitendra jutha pabadham prayata pathe Daitatmajasya cha satam pravaraisya punnam Sruta anubhavam akuta bhayam eti lokam. Prahlad Maharaj position was emphasized. After hearing this 7th chapter, we will understand, we'll come to this conclusion that Prahlad Maharaj was the best among all exalted devotees. Anyone who with great attention hears this narration concerning the activities of Prahlad Maharaj and killing of Hiranyakashipu and the activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. 3 things. Prahlad Maharaj's, how he tolerated, how he glorified, how he maintained a wonderful devotee life during this worse than pandemic crisis. But internally he was happy. And Srila Prabhupada put his expression of his feeling as the beginning of this book, the 7th Canto volume. So very important that how Prabhupada was glorifying Prahlad Maharaj. So if we remember and come to this conclusion of Prahlad Maharaj's exalted position and how Hiranyakashipu or demoniac mentality always try to disturb Krishna consciousness and Krishna devotees, how it will be destroyed or Hiranyakashipu was killed, and the beautiful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nishingadev, surely reaches the spiritual world where there is no anxiety. So this chapter is entitled as Isha Anukatha, or the Science of God. And we see that every chapter has a speciality of this 10 subject matter from 2nd Canto, but each chapter also had the 10 subject matter in a different way to look at it. Very beautiful. And first 10 chapter of this 7th Canto, that it's regarding, oftenly we ask the question, is God there? Is God merciful? Is God are always protecting His devotees? If I become a serious devotee, am I going to? And what is the serious devotee means, and what is bhakti? These are all explained in this chapter, in these cantos. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he read this Prahlad Charit 108 times. And not only that, during Kartik, he actually asked the devotees to recite Prahlad Maharaj Charit in Radhakund. And he has a big comment about this, that those who are not interested, those who are serious devotee, they will be interested. And those who are not serious, they are not. They are looking for Radha Krishna pastime. Actually, they don't know what Radha Krishna pastime is. That was his conclusion. So it's a very profound, this teaching. And Srila Prabhupada writes in 1966 in New York, see if I find it, I can read this. Srila Prabhupada said, do you think that God is in that where partial? No, it is just like the sunshine, Prabhupada writes. Sunshine is open for everyone. But one who does not take advantage of the sunshine, like owl, Prabhupada didn't say, I'm just mentioning, like owl, and he keeps himself within the dark room. Oh, the sun, what can sun do? Similarly, this partiality of God, he takes special interest of the devotee. Because the devotees are able to take the supreme, the complete sunshine of Krishna. It is not partiality of the sun or Krishna, but it is the but it is the capacity of the person who can take full advantage of the sunshine. So it is individually us, when we hear about Krishna, how seriously we take the philosophy, and proportion to our faith, maintaining the belief, Krishna will reciprocate that much. So this is very important, Srila Prabhupada writes. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated Prahlad Maharaj's mentality when found in Vasudev Datta. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's coming down to this world, feeling separation, experiencing the feeling separation of Srimati Radharani, which was guided by Gadadhar Pandit. Srimati Radharani herself came as a Gadadhar Pandit, would recite Prahlad Charit in we went there in Jagannath Puri, Tota Gopinath temple. In Tota Gopinath temple, every day morning Mahaprabhu would come and listen. Prahlad Charit, many times, and Mahaprabhu would say, go on, more. So Prahlad Charit makes prominent foundation of bhakti. Our sadhana, kriti saddha, bhavet saddha, bhava sa sadhana vidha, has a true transformation. One transformation, it brings us to liberated position, even though our goal is not liberation, Krishna Prem. But first transformation take place, and then here in this chapter Narad Muni suggests to see and examine what is pure bhakti after the transformation. Because after the transformation, most of the impersonalists have no information and they do not go further. And the devotees' real life began from there. So there is a Bhava-rupa and Chesta-rupa. There is a inner intention and execution. Both were demonstrated by Prahlad Maharaj, and Narad Muni, last 5 chapters, he explains for all of us in this world. So what do we learn? We learn that Prahlad Maharaj was one of the greatest devotees, and not born from a Brahmana family. He was born from a demon family, you can say. And bhakti is never lost, even in the womb. We can learn so many things from this chapter. And Shanda and Amarka, they are Brahmana, but they did not become devotee from the association of Prahlad, because they didn't want to take his association. So physical proximity is not the association. Accepting, submitting, and service attitude. These 3 things. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprasnana sevaya upadekshanti te genam genina tattvadarshina. Where is exhibited? By the demoniac children. They are born in a demoniac family, but by the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they have accepted Prahlad as their teacher, guru, and they all became pure devotee. So many things we learn from this. First chapter begins, the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur put this as the impartiality of the Lord. Yes. First question was asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Sama priya surid brahman bhutanam bhagavan sayam indriyasharthe katham daitam avadhi bhishamo jatha. So Yudhishthira Maharaj asked this question to Narad Muni. After seeing the whole episode of Shishupal, I'm not going to narrate because of the time, that how Shishupal, the soul Shishupal, came out of the body after Sudarshan Chakra, dismantled, and displayed its existence to all the audience and then enter into the body of Lord's lotus feet. So how is possible? The Jnani cannot get, but he was so bad demon, he was always blaspheming Krishna, criticizing Krishna, yet he got liberation. So King Parikshit inquired this same thing. The my dear Brahmana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone. How then did Krishna became partial like a common man for the sake of Indra? Thus kill Indra's enemy. We recite those verses. Indriyari be kolam lukam miryayanti juge juge. How can a person equal to everyone be partial to some and inimical to others? You know, in your family life, if the parents are partial to one siblings and not you, how do you feel? In your school, if the teacher is partial to one student over others, how do you feel as a student or in a classmate? We don't feel good. So this question was genuine. Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all pleasure. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigods? That was Yudhishthira Maharaj's question, or a question of Parikshit. What interest would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the Asuras, demons? How could he be envious of them? So he asked this question, whether Narayan is a Supreme Personality of Godhead is a partial or impartial, has become a subject of great doubt. So he asked, my dear Gurudev, kindly dispel my doubt with the positive evidence that Narayan is always neutral and equal to everyone. Then Sukadeva Goswami mentioned that. The discourse and Sukadeva Goswami beginning he says, even to hear this discussion, it actually pleasing the ears. Why? Because Krishna is impartial eternally. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of that beginning sloka that one who has contract can see, can see God. That does not mean substance are not there. Pure bhakta, premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena. They see the God everywhere because they have a love for Him. Without love for God, you cannot see God. So as a sadhaka, that question may arise, how do you see? We can see by the association of those who are seeing Krishna. And there are a lot of devotees, serious, sincerely, see the God's presence every day in their life. God does not play favorites, but He has His favorites. Similarly, Krishna does not play favorites, but He does not discriminate. He just reciprocates. That we should remember. And though He has His favorite, His favor is available for everyone, such as His sweet transcendence. Human eyes, my eyes, see the external endeavor, but divine eyes see the attitude behind the endeavor and reciprocate accordingly. This is how, and Prabhupada was exhibiting this. And many examples I remember from the devotees' pastime. I live in Alachua, so many of Prabhupada's disciples, and we have a wonderful association here. So, back to this question, when devotee asked Prabhupada, are you impartial, Prabhupada, to all your disciples? Do you love all your disciples equal? Srila Prabhupada replied, yes. Then Prabhupada says, but if few disciples take lots of service, I reciprocate with them more than others because they are showing, it appears like I'm showing them favor, but I love all my disciples equal. So we cannot let reason direct emotion, let emotion animates reason. Because we know from this that reason without emotion is impersonalism. And emotion without reason, sentimentalism, sahajiyasm. So then question came that Yudhishthira Maharaj again asked, it is very wonderful that the demon Shishupal merged into the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though extremely envious. So this Sajujya Mukti is impossible to attain even for the great transcendentalist. How then did the enemy of the Lord attain it? So that was the question. And Narad Muni is narrating to Yudhishthira Maharaj. There is a verse, series verse goes in 7th Canto, 1st chapter 26 to 32. So I'll cite few. Tasmad Bhairavanubhava Bandena Nirvedena Bhayena Va Snehat Kamena Va Junjat Kathena Chin Nikeshate Prithak. By enemy or by devotional service or by fear or by affection or by transcendental lust, desire. By all of these, any one of them, if a conditioned soul or some or other concentrate his mind or her mind upon the Lord, the result is the same. Because Lord is impartial, neutral. Anything comes in contact with him, they get the benefit of his affection, mercy. Because of his blissful position. Because of his blissful position, they get that contagiousness of blissful. Is never affected by, Lord is never affected by enemy or friendship. Rather, they get benefit. Then they cited many other verses. Kama deshat bhayat sneha jata bhakti sharamana aveshu tu agam hitta bhavato gatim gata. Many persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Krishna, with a great attention, giving up sinful activities. This great attention may be due to lusty desire like gopis, transcendental lusty desire, transmoral lusty desire, not immoral. Inimical feelings, fear, affection, or devotional service. And he gave many examples of this. Goppa kamat bhayat kangso desa chiri daya nipa sambandhat vishnaya sneha juyam bhakta bhayam vivo. He is also addressing Yudhishthira Maharaj. Out of affection, Krishna stayed there. It's a very big position that Supreme Absolute Truth would spend time in your house, in your company because of your love. That was the question. Because of his absorption to Krishna. So next, in that same chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked also other question, which leads to next chapter. That Kidrisha Kashyapa Sapo Haridasanu Abhi Marshanaha Asraddheya Ibhavati Harir Ekantam Bhava. Yudhishthira Maharaj asked, what kind of great curse could affect even liberated Vishnu Bhakta? What sort of person could curse? I mean, their eternal associate Joy Vijay. And who has power to curse the eternal associate? By going to Vaikuntha. So, for unflinching devotees like Joy Vijay of the Lord to fall again to this material world is impossible. Yudhishthira Maharaj even says, I cannot believe this. So then he wanted some pacification, pacifying antidote from Narad Muni. So then Narad Muni started narrating this story of beautiful explanation that how Lord actually reciprocate, and he concluded, how would you feel if your parents are partial towards your sibling, as I mentioned? Would you be comfortable? Would your teacher be biased towards your classmate? It is natural to expect from one's superior or guardian or similar treatment as one's equals received. Any discrepancy in that leads to disappointment. Perception of partiality is painful and could demotivate people and slacken their spirit. What if one sees partiality in God? Is God equal or partial? So that's why I narrated those. No. Samaham sarva bhuteshu na me deshusti na priya. Krishna himself declared in Bhagavad Gita. First line he says, Krishna says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service, je bhajanti tumam bhakta moite shuchapi ham. But if someone render devotional service as a friend, is in me, I am also friend to him. So there is a key line. Krishna is impartial. You can say impartially partial. That will be the best. So then, question is, does God hate bad people? He came to kill Hiranyakashipu. I'm looking at the time. No, God does not hate no one. God disapproved the nefarious activities of demoniac people. Because it hurts everybody. Even the person who is demon, it's going to damage his own self. But he never disowns them. He endeavors to rectify their mentality. He is willing, God is willing to forgive their misdeeds. But he never interferes with their little independence. That's why Srila Prabhupada writes that the Supreme Lord does not want any living being to act sinfully. He begs him through his good conscience to refrain from sin. But when someone insists upon acting sinfully, the Supreme Lord gives him the sanction to act at his own risk. So, with these notes, we see that even in our Bhagavatam, the devotee explained very nice about that sloka. Aho bhakyam stanakala kutam jigam saya payad api asyadhi. Lebe gatim dhatrim uchitam tatonnam kamba dayalu saranam bhajima. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother? To who? To a she-demon, Putana. Although she was unfaithful, she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Even one thinks of Krishna with anger or envy. By such constant thinking, one gets liberated by his mercy. Then what to speak of lovingly remembering him and serving him? When the mind is somehow or other fully absorbed in Krishna, the material part is very soon vanquished, disappears. And spiritual part, attraction to Krishna, becomes manifest. Therefore, the Bhagavatam is saying that one should always focus one's mind on Krishna, somehow or other. Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshaya. This is sadhan bhakti. The Lord's causeless mercy in liberating both the devotees and the demons clearly distinguish him from ordinary living entities. Of course, attitude is greater than magnitude. Even in the case of the devotee, the Lord is not partial towards those devotees who do more service and neglect others who do less service. Somebody may say, oh, he knows more, I don't know much, so probably God loves him more. No. He accepts the mood in which a service is done. Bhavagrahi janardana. Bhavagrahi janardana. Sadhava vadati vishnave, murkha vadati vishnaya, sadhava vadati vishnave, ubhayastu samanpunnam, bhavagrahi janardana. For him, the attitude behind the service is more important than the magnitude of the service. Lord Ram did that. Lord Ramchandra was equally pleased with Hanuman, who was bringing huge boulders, and small, a little squirrel, who was bringing some grains of sand for the construction of the bridge across the ocean. In this world, Some people are rich, some are poor, some often suffer, some enjoy more. The suffering people often compare themselves with others and say that God is partial. They blame God for their misery. I have seen here in Alachua. While the happy people ignore God in their enjoyment. Prabhupada write this. Dukkha samay hari baje, dukh bar hai koi, aur sukha samay hari baje, dukh kahan hai. This shows people's tendency to claim credit for their happiness and blame God for their distress. However, nature, mature devotees see both distress and happiness as God sent as a result of their past deed. Do not blame God as a partial. The Lord is not partial to anyone, but just reciprocate with the moods and deeds of people. He is specially inclined to the devotees because they love, serve Him with all their hearts. That's what we are learning. He is merciful to the demons as well, but owing to their negative attitude, He punishes them mercifully. If some mother see a child is so mischievous, naughty, she gives time out. I see in early life when we were in the Gurukuls there. And this is actually extension of our mother's love. But why they do it? To uplift that child, or to uplift the demon, you can say. In either case, Supreme Lord is the supreme well-wisher of every living being, like a loving mother, loving father. So of course, we know that origin of Varahadev, that Narayan was thinking in Vaikuntha to fight, to relish the Shivlari Rasa, and Joy Vijay as a gatekeeper were conversing. Because over there, whatever God thinks and the devotee also feel in the same, because the body is made of Satchidananda consciousness, not dead matter. So that Joy Vijay conversing, what is the value of life if we cannot please give a fight to the Lord? We can't do it in Vaikuntha. What should we do? Then Vijay said, we'll go anywhere. This is Madhurya Kadambini gives a synopsis of that story. That what is the value of staying here if we cannot please the Lord? So they choose to go somewhere to give the fight to the Lord so He can release the Shivlari. At that time 4 Kumaras came, and you know that beautiful pastime, you can read that how they cursed and then the Lord appeared and He said, this is our all preordained. It meant to happen. So seeing their deep separation feeling, Lord gave them a choice. You want 3 life as a demon or 7 life as a devotee? They say, we just want any life to come back quick. So they got 3 life. That doesn't mean they stayed in 3 millennium. They took consequence 3 life as a demon and came back. Then when Lord came as a Varahadev and got that fight from Hiranyaksha, and Hiranyaksha was dead and everybody was depressed, then Hiranyakashipu, that's how the 2nd chapter began. Hiranyakashipu, as a king of the demon, gave a funeral eulogy. And Narad Muni very nicely says, Bhratari evam vinihate harina krodha murtina Hiranyakashipu rajan. So here very nicely Narad Muni explained, my dear king, Yudhishthir, prapadda peda rusha sucha. When Lord Vishnu in the form of Varaha, the boar, killed Hiranyaksha, Hiranyaksha's brother, Hiranyakashipu, was extremely angry and began to lament. And he gave I'll narrate this very sweet pastime, simple, few minutes, that when Hiranyakashipu noticed that everybody is depressed, you know, when people die in America, I see that they go to funeral eulogy, the ceremony. We and also some devotees. And Hiranyakashipu gave a speech, and his motive was that he wants to take over the position of God and he wants to punish God. Not only that, punish, he wants to destroy God and he wants to claim himself as God. But first he wants to specify the depressed relative. So he gave a beautiful speech. He said, listen everyone, the killer is Vishnu. And he acted himself and he said, I'm going to act myself through tapasya to become a responsible leader while you do your parts. But they need immediate pacification. So he started counseling them. And he narrated a beautiful pastimes of Jamaraj. And we learn from this. Not see the world to enjoy. A course of treatment is given. In our life we can apply this chapter. A course of treatment is given to a hospital patient. I saw recently. But as one disease is located and treated, another disease may emerge. As that second disease is treated, another disease may come out. You know, sometimes we purify one of our bad habits and we are chanting Mangalarti and enthusiastically trying to preach and practicing. Actually, dharma jiv ke sikha. So we are practicing and preaching, but somehow or other notice that another bad habit is there within me. So like this, one after another is possible. Sin is in the aspirant, not in those who are perfect, but those who are sadhaka like me. But we learn from this chapter, those who come to Krishna consciousness are also patient. We are all patient. This is not a place of normal healthy person, but a place for patients who are being purified through a course of treatment. And that process is called sadhana bhakti. And Prabhupada said we should not judge because we all are in a shower. We are purifying, cleaning. And who are the demons? In the beginning Prabhupada writes, the demon means, we generally think like some kind of a physical form. Not exactly like this. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the demons are considered highly elevated in knowledge. They know the knowledge, they have the knowledge. But because they do not use their good intelligence for the service of the Lord, they are called demon. They do not try to please the Lord. But they will use the knowledge from the Veda to satisfy their own senses. And then in the beginning of the famous verse, the Tasya Tekta Sa Bhavasya Griner Maya Banavakasha. That Hiranyakashipu, he as a demon, who is he now? This is how the demoniac world people thinks. Right here in this world, there's so many people thinks like Hiranyakashipu. So he says that the Lord, he's giving the identity of God as if he knows who God is. So he says the Lord gave up his natural tendency of equality towards the demon and demigod. That means he does not believe that God has an eternal, loving, fatherly, affectionate figure. He thinks he gave up. That means he doesn't understand according to Veda. Even though he did a severe austerity, we'll see in few chapters, and he knows lot. He's a supreme person, now influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a boar, and to please his devotee. Then the demigod, just as a restless child leans towards someone, I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, with the profuse blood from his body. I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who was so fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful. So, of course, Hiranyakashipu did not have Achyuta Bhava Varjitam, means he had no feeling for God. He was just demonizing the God, being a demon. This is like very far out. So then, Hiranyakashipu's eulogy was very profound. It seems like he knew Bhagavad Gita very well. Second chapter, the summarizing the whole Atma Tattva. So, as you all know, that he trying to pacify his relatives by narrating a story of Sujagna king who was residing in a country, and he goes many times out, kill the other country king and citizen and take over. But one time he did not return. So all these queens, his wives, they are all devastated and they are crying, and nobody is doing the funeral rite of cremating the body. So then Jamaraj himself came as an orphan child, and he was going around in these depressed royal people with all the citizens and brahmanas, everyone. Then he says, why everybody is crying? What is the matter? They said, the king is dead. King is dead. What do you mean dead? What is dead means? They didn't know this is Jamaraj. He said, dead means he's gone. Oh, king gone so many times, he'll be back. No, you don't understand, child. And Prabhupada writes, when actually, even depressed mothers, when they see a little baby talking, they pay attention. They forget, some or other forget their depression as much as they pay attention to the child's question. So the child is asking, this little orphan child, that he will be back, don't worry. So then they say, no, he went to Netherlands, from where nobody comes back. Really? So the child went around and he saw the dead body. He said, hey, you are lying. The dead body, the king is here. He said, no, this is not the king. Oh, this is not the king. Then who is the king? He said, this is the body of the king. King is the soul. King is the soul. How the soul looks like. Have you seen soul before? How the king, the soul behaved? They never thought even like this. Oh, we never saw the soul. So you never saw the soul, and you decide that the soul left this body, and you crying. So let me also join with you and cry loudly, so then the soul will come back in the body. Then he started crying. And then all the mothers said, no, by crying he's not going to come back. Oh, by crying he's not going to come back. So my case is dismissed. Why you are crying then? But they could not stop. This is Hiranyakashipu is telling this story. Very narrative, very effective too. Then he gives a Kulinga bird story. He says that, listen, Hiranyakashipu said, if you don't give up the depression, see what the end result. And he said, there was a Kulinga bird. And his wife, they were in a conversation of beautiful, romantic life. Then all of a sudden, the female bird saw some grains nearby on the ground. He said, let's go eat. And then the male bird says, you don't go and just eat. Where in the world, in the middle of forest, no being are here, spread the seeds here. So then she said, why you are doubting? You don't have to doubt. Opportunity is there, let's take it. We do the same thing, but we don't think. So then she fly over there. She started eating. All of a sudden, the net fell from the tree branch. And she's now trapped. And she's saying, now I'll be the food of this hunter who put the trap. And they are talking, the husband and wife. One is outside and one is inside. But inside the net. And their conversation went, oh, you are so beautiful, I'll miss you. And then they started crying, and the male bird also became so depressed. And eventually, the hunter saw from far, and he understood the language, that he is also depressed, he cannot fly now, he cannot see me, so he shot an arrow and killed both. So Hiranyakashipu established that point. The more you're depressed, actually inviting your own death, so you give up. So then they got some relief. So then he told the whole audience, his nephew, his mother, Mother Diti, and his sister-in-law, and all the demons. He says, kindly hear me attentively, and then act according to my words without delay. For heroes to die before the enemy is glorious. Vishnu is the root of all the demigod. Devata. We must cut down that root. He is like a big tree and the demigod are like a branches. But if I cut the root out, then the whole tree will fall. And all the branches to it, these are like a Vedic culture, Brahmana culture, beautiful Varnashram society like this. And whole description was how he want to destroy the healthy, happy, spiritual atmosphere living. They want the demoniac lifestyle that depends on him. So he told them that go and destroy the cow protection, Brahmana society family, those who are studying Veda, perform Jagga, serving the sages, Jyotish Shastra, Ayurveda, destroy everything. And while you are doing this, I am going to go and do austerity to get the power to kill Vishnu. So he left and he went and he did a severe austerity in Mandar Hill. And after doing the severe austerity in Mandar Hill, that he was performing, some say 36,000 years, because 100 years of demigod time multiplied into 36,000. And some say 60,000, one Acharya says. So, nevertheless, it is a big time. 36,000 years, our years, is a long austerity. Nobody can ever do like this. Then finally Brahmaji came down there and he could not locate, he found him. And then finally, we learn from this incident that Hiranyakashipu, what was his outcome and what was his origin motive. He forgot few things. He learned it, probably didn't learn until the moment of death, that his failure, the cause of his failure was in the womb of his wife before he started his process to be success. This is a learning, teaching for us that we should not be successful in the material world. We should only thrive bhakti. Even the karmis, even the unbelievers, they should live their life according to Vedic culture and try to serve the Vaishnavas, devotees and Krishna. Otherwise, their failure is already born before they even begin there or before they begin planning of their success. Hiranyakashipu, failure was the cause of caused by Prahlad, and he was in the womb of his wife before he even left. So power is not the power we have over others, but the power we have over ourselves. Hiranyakashipu conquered the whole creation, you can say, not creation, but this universe, 3 planets. But he could not control his own senses. In his own house, a little child, 5 years old Prahlad, was his ultimate cause of death. He conquered over demigod, he got mystic power and everything from the Brahmajis, everything, but he failed. So this is very important. Many people hunger for power. Such power-hungry people usually define power in terms of external, in terms of how much they can control others and make them bend to their will. Even if they gain power, Hiranyakashipu did this. They don't become happy. Hiranyakashipu was not happy, he was always worried. How come this power Prahlad is challenging his own power? And he knew his power has no equivalent. Even demigods, they are scared, which is the purpose of everything we do, including seek power. So Srimad Bhagavatam in its 7th canto described the story of demon king Hiranyakashipu. We can learn this, who had unrivaled power all over the universe. His power was far greater than even the aspiration of most people in today's world. What to speak of their achievement? Yet despite such power, he was never satisfied. Why? Because he did not have control over his mind and senses. He kept looking all things which he did not have control over, such as his saintly son Prahlad, who would not worship him as God. Prabhupada writes that Prahlad never compromised Krishna consciousness philosophy. We should learn all this. Generalizing the principle illustrated through the pastimes. So, like this way, Hiranyakashipu was terrorizing the world, and the Lord, many Vaishnavas and sincere devotees, they started praying, and the Lord, in the 3rd chapter, gave them assurance. Don't worry. Jodi dasasya vimatam varan me varadattam dattama uttama. That when this Hiranyakashipu ever torture Prahlad, I'll be there before. And he told them, O best of the giver of benediction, if you will kindly grant me the benediction that I desire. When Hiranyakashipu was asking like this, and Hiranyakashipu got all this, but it could not satisfy him. At the end, you know, all this benediction, boon he got. He said, please let me not meet death from any living entity created by you. I think this is the best insurance, life saver, life insurance that the material world can give. This is not God's life savings insurance. This is a Hiranyakashipu's. So he said, please let me not meet death from any living entity created by you. Grant me that I not die within any residence or outside the residence, during the daytime and night, nor on the ground or in the sky, water. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon used in this material world to kill, nor by any human being or animal. Grant me that I am not meet death from any entity living or non-living. He's repeating sometimes different way, same thing. He's trying to cover, like covering all the aspect of insurance policy. I not get killed by demigod demons or by any great snake from the lower planet. So he went on and on and on, and Brahmaji said, Tatastu, and he left. Hiranyakashipu was terrorizing the world, really reached a big trouble to everybody. So when the devotee, some Vaishnavas were there in this world who did not surrender to Hiranyakashipu. So for them the Lord, in a rumble voice, he said, Jatha devesu vedesu gosu vipresu sadhusu dharme mai cha viddesa sabasu vinasati. When one is envious of the demigod, who represent the Supreme Lord, of the Vedas, which gives all knowledge, of the cows, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, religious principles, ultimately of me, I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and His civilization, vanquish without delay. Supreme Lord assured them. And then they told him about the Prahlad. And the Supreme Lord, in that rumble voice, he also said, Nairvairya prashantaya sasutaya mahatmane praradaya jada dudheyat dhanishe api bharjitam. Hiranyakashipu teaches the great devotee Prahlad, his own son, who is peaceful and sober, who has no enemy. I shall kill Hiranyakashipu immediately, despite the benediction of Brahma. Then the devotees got a little pacified, and Lord from the rumble voice disappeared. And there was a very nice description of the time being, that how Prahlad Maharaj, through conversing with his father, he taught us very nice things. Very nice things. Prahlad Maharaj, very nicely spoken, that we learn from this 5th chapter. Prahlad Maharaj was introduced by his father and mother about the Gurukul teaching policies. But the teachers, they are not devotee. Even though they are Brahmana, sons of Sanda and Amarka, sons of Sukracharya, Brahman family, but they are not devotee. So as a result, they were teaching them politics, duality of friend, enemy, karma, artha, that's all they would teach. So one time, when Prahlad Maharaj was such a gentle, Mother Kayadu, his mother, who actually had so much affection for Prahlad that allowed Prahlad to hear for 36,000 years from Narad Muni. That was a great sadhana. Mother Kayadu and Prahlad both did. And so Prahlad was brought to his father, and when his father saw Prahlad, he was overwhelmed with affection. So he took him on his lap and he smelled the head and he exhibited as a father, affectionate father. So he asked Prahlad, what is the best subject matter you have learned in school? And Prahlad, those are beautiful verses. You can chant every day, whole life. I chant those verses, beautiful. Tat sadhu manne asuravarja dehinam sada samudvigna dhyama sadgrahat hittatmapatam grihamandakupam vanam gato jad harimasrayeta. Oh, best of the demons, king of the demons. He did not say, my dear father. He said, best of the demons. As far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted this temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety. Why? Because of having fallen in a dark well, where there is no water, only suffering. Hiranyakashipu looking at him, and Prahlad says, one should give up this position and go to forest. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, go to Vrindavan. Vana here, Vanam gato jad harim asray. You should go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Hari. Prabhupada writes, one should go to Vrindavan where Lord Krishna and Krishna consciousness is prevalent. So thus one should take shelter. So Hiranyakashipu, hearing about his enemy, as he thought God is his enemy, he did not become angry with Prahlad. Why? Because he thought Prahlad is a little child. He just got some bad association, according to him. So he told the Sanda and Amarka, you take him and teach him that what is the ultimate goal of life, of this sense gratification. You should do that. So then Sanda Amarka took Prahlad at Gurukul, and Sanda and Amarka, their name also have a deep meaning. That Sanda means bull. Only interested hard work like bull, donkey, for sex. There is no light. They are filled with ignorance. And Amarka means, Arka means light, no lights. Amarka means no light. So this is how the teacher, what can they teach? So Sanda Amarka says, in their school, they put Prahlad. Don't be afraid, Prahlad. Don't hide anything. Please tell us the truth. Who has spoiled your brain? Who are the spy Vaishnava Hare Krishnas are coming to your place? Tell us. We don't have to be afraid. Prahlad folded his hand. Said, oh Lord, your external energy, Maya, is so powerful, causing this enemy and friend. We can learn this. So sweet, this discourse, the whole canto. That what I heard before from my Guru, Narad Muni, from the womb, I could not see it, but I believed it, and now I see it. But problem is, if you distinguish the friend and enemy, you can never see Paramatma, Supreme Lord, who is sitting in your heart as a loving well-wisher. God is there, but you cannot see. So Sanda said, why attraction? Why are you getting attracted to Vishnu? Why are you talking about Vishnu? Prahlad says, I am like an iron and God is like a magnet. Naturally I am attracted to God. Then after saying this he remained silent. Sanda and Amarka were surprised, shocked. So how Prahlad, devoted Vaishnava. Then they thought, this is not good. Hiranyakashipu will become very angry with us. So they chastised Prahlad. Bring a stick. Hey Prahlad, you try to damage our name and fame. We are a good teacher. We are supposed to teach you. And if you don't learn, you will be kolonashak with your philosophy. So they tried Sama, Dhamma, Danda, Veda, these four principles. And they saw Prahlad was quiet and Prahlad was learning or not learning, they don't know, but he was very quiet. Then they felt very good. Okay, now he's quiet, he understood our position. Let's take him to Hiranyakashipu. So next day, they brought him there and Hiranyakashipu put him on this lap and he was very happy seeing his son. So he asked the same question, Prahlad, what excellent lesson you have learned from Gurukul. Prahlad, as Prabhupada says, no compromise. He says, Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Daisyam Saikkam Atmani Vedanam Iti Pungsarpita Vishnu Bhakti Chena Navalakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Adda Tanmanne Ditam Uttamam Aditam Uttamam. That hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, seeing the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord. Become His servant, considering one's best friend, surrendering everything unto Him. In other words, serving Him with body, mind and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. Now, one who has gathered all the knowledge in him, he is the most intelligent. Why? Because he surrendered and pleased the Lord with this 9 processes of bhakti. And he described very nicely. Hiranyakashipu furiously, angry, pushed Prahlad down from his lap, angry to Sanda and Amarka. You teacher disobeyed my order. Instead joining, you joined the enemy camp. Sanda and Amarka says, please don't blame us. We are Brahmana. Please don't accuse the Brahmana unnecessarily. He learned this on his own. We don't know how. Then Hiranyakashipu asked, Prahlad, you rascal, Kulanashak, means you destroyer of this race that I had built so nicely. If you did not learn from your teacher, where did you learn from? Prahlad took advantage of every opportunity to preach, whether his father or anybody, because he made, later on next chapter we'll see that he made his devotee. I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to squeeze this, make it into small story. Then he says, very nice teachings, this. Matina Krishne parato satova mitho vipaddate griha vratanam adanta gavir vishatam tamishram punah punascharivita charvananam. How can one become devotee? How can one become devotee? So Prahlad Maharaj says that because of their uncontrolled senses, person too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish condition and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclination towards Krishna are never aroused either by the instruction of others or by their own efforts or by a combination of both. Hiranyakashipu could not take it. He was thinking that how this possible that my son is speaking to me about my enemy camp and is glorifying as if he belongs to them. He was furious. You Kulanashak, you think you are most intelligent. You think you can advise me. And now you are saying that I am a sense enjoyer and I have no intelligence. Then what is the goal of life you think one should have? Prahlad Maharaj did not even think. He immediately said, Nate vidu sartagatim he Vishnu durasayaja bahirarthamanina andhajatande rupagiyamanas teopi shatantra murdham nibaddha. Person who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, who have therefore accepted as their leaders or guru in a similar blind man attached to external sense object, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead, and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. A blind man guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into ditch. Materially attached men, led by another material attachment, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords. They continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold of misery. Now Hiranyakashipu is thinking, before you tell me I have no intelligence, I am a sense enjoyer, I am blind. Now you stating my guru is also blind and I am following a blind to a blind leader. What do you think? That how then somebody will get this knowledge? What is the right and wrong? Then Prahlad immediately took advantage of it. He says, Naisham matistabadura kramangrim sprishati anartha pagama jadartha mahyasam padarajo visekham nishkinchananam nabinita jaba. It is only by the foot dust of a pure devotee one can understand what is right, what to do, what not to do. Otherwise they will never. He got so furious, Hiranyakashipu, then he tried to kill Prahlad. That's it. He told him, take him and kill him, murder him. And they tried with so many putting under, I have a 16, okay. Put him under the elephant or any means, just kill him. So they tried to kill him many ways, in every way possible. But Prahlad Maharaj, his body was connected with the Lord. This is the key point we can learn. Since it was previously said that Prahlad Maharaj was embraced by Govinda, he was like a child protected on the lap of his father. Then did the weapon attack the limbs of the Lord? No, that is impossible. The Lord is the Supreme Brahman, spread everywhere, without change, with inconceivable powers. Anirdesha. He is the soul of everyone and everything. Thus controller of all weapons. How could weapons strike him? So when Prahlad Maharaj was embraced by the Lord, then nothing could touch him. Then they, of course, throw under the elephant's feet. They throw from the cliff. And Prahlad Maharaj was so meditative that Lord picked him up and there was a bullock cart passing by. They placed him on the bullock cart back, and bullock cart stopped in the back side of the big palace of the Hiranyakashipu, and Prahlad opened his eye. Oh, he saw, I'm back at home. And he didn't even think who put me there, how. He was always thinking of the Lord. So this way, many way torture took place, but nothing could kill Prahlad. Every angle to look at. They, with water, they throw him, we tie up with the rope under the ocean with the boulder so that he will never come out. But somehow the Borundev took him on the other side. And Prahlad was so surprised that he met the Lord there. And Lord told him, very soon I am going to appear. Just wait, little more tolerate. I will appear very soon. And then Prahlad, this way, Prahlad Maharaj made Hiranyakashipu completely frustrated, depressed, and nothing, no way to find escaping from Prahlad's power. So then Sanda and Amarka told, why you are depressed, Hiranyakashipu? Prahlad is only a little baby. Don't be depressed. We'll just change his mind. Don't you remember your power? All the demigod, everybody is so afraid of you. Besides, our father is coming soon and he's going to train this child. So, don't worry. So after hearing this, Chandamarka took Prahlad back again and he talked to him, Prahlad. Prahlad became very little submissive, apparently. So then they made him a monitor. Then they went to their family and told Prahlad to take care of the children. Then Prahlad took advantage of this when the... I have 10 minutes to finish the rest of the chapter. So I'm going to say that Prahlad teaching was so beautiful that he made the entire demon children as a devotee. And that was the greatest thing. And those verses Prabhupada loves, we all should apply this in our life. Komarat acharit pragya dharman bhagavataniha durlabha manava janma tadapi adrubam arthadam. And then great things also he taught to the demoniac children that sukham indrekam daikta dehajogena dehina sarvata labbate daiva jata dukkhavat ajatnata. Am I the maker of my destiny or life is predestined? He answered, both. But don't waste time. In human life you cannot increase more happiness than what you are destined. So therefore you should practice Krishna consciousness. So then all the boys, after discussion, he gave the temporary reality of human life. And the boys all asked him, how did you learn all this? Then the next chapter goes, he narrate the story that how he was in the womb of his mother, where Indra came, tried to kidnap his mother, and Narad Muni intervened, and Narad Muni told, Ayan Nishkilvishe Sakshat Mahabhagavato Mahan Tayana Prapati Sangstan Ananta Anuchara Bolim. Oh Indra, he is a pure devotee. Inside you are not be able to kill because he is protected by the Lord. So then they did the parikrama to his mother and left. Then Prahlad Maharaj, after narrating all this story, then they said, how can we learn this? He said, you can take as it is from me, as I learned from Narada. Then he taught them, Guru Shushrusaya Bhakta Sarvalabdarpenana cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishwarera Aradhanena cha. That whatever capacity you have, you serve by hearing from Guru and surrender to him. With the devotee association, you keep on going. And he promoted the chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And they all agreed. Instead of fun like ordinary children, they all became pure devotee instantly by following Prahlad Maharaj, and they started chanting loudly. When they started chanting loudly, Sanda Amarka noticed, oh my God, they went out of control. They all became a devotee, Hare Krishna devotee, pure devotee. Hiranyakashipu found out and he became so angry, and then he challenged. And where Prahlad Maharaj was unmoved, and he revealed the truth. And Hiranyakashipu asked, where do you get your power? And Prahlad Maharaj said, from the same source as you get and everybody gets. So after this, Hiranyakashipu could not take it. And then Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu's dialogue, where Hiranyakashipu wanted to prove that he is the only powerful man in the existence, nobody else. And as he pointed out, is your God everywhere? Where is your God? He said, he is everywhere. Is he in the pillar? Sure. So then he went and over there he punched, and then there was a wonderful sound, astonishing sound appeared. And from that sound he was wondering, where is this sound coming from? Where is this? So there is a famous verse, is given in the 8th chapter, we all should know, and we all know, I hope. Sattam vidatum nijabritta bhashitam vyaktim cha bhuteshu kileshu cha atmana adrishyata ati adbhuta rupam udbham stambe svayam namigam namanusham. That Lord promised already that Prahlad Maharaj's word has to be true. One. Also, that Brahmaji's benediction has to be true too, and Narad Muni's word to Indra that Taya na prapashe sangstam, nobody can kill Prahlad. So to maintain this beautiful three devotees' opinion, the Lord appeared from this, and he had a wonderful sight of it. I have 6 minutes that the description is given in chapter 8, how Nishingadev made everybody happy, and by killing all these demons, he extended so many hands and he delivered them. This was the affection of the Lord. Because delivering means when Lord's body or Sudarshan Chakra, severe conditioned souls, it is not the physical body important, it is the subtle body dissolves. Means they are liberated from this material energy. And there is three things we should learn. If we can not glorify or appreciate, then we will merge into the body. This is in 3rd Canto, 2nd chapter. Prabhupada explained. But if we can appreciate Lord's and devotees' activity, we will enter into Vaikuntha. If we can glorify and feel love for the Lord, we will enter into Golok. So this is what the end of this. And then Hiranyakashipu was dead. And then Narad Muni, end of the chapter, Prahlad Maharaj and Nishingadev's conversation, beautiful verses in 9th chapter. I'm sorry for the time, but you all can read. It's wonderful. And then at the end, Lord Nishingadev told to Prahlad that in front of this audience, that anybody hears this description, our discussion, this whole episode took place, they will come back home, back to Godhead. Then after that, the Hiranyakashipu was killed by Nishingadev, ended, and then the Maya Danav's description is there. And then the last 4th chapter was Narad Muni's instruction for all of us, the civilized human, the Brahmana, Vanaprastha culture, and the Sannyasi culture. And Narad Muni this way, he explained the Grihastha's duty, levels of Brahmanas, Narada's history, by narrating his own life. He said, find your own dharma and leave your dharma. And then Narad Muni says, beyond your dharma, go beyond your dharma. Means there is two things. There is a material duty, there is a constitutional duty, conditional duty. And you have to balance in both. And then by performing devotional service, you come back home, back to Godhead. This is the conclusion of this 15th chapter. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Is there any question, comments or anything?
No, Prabhuji, no questions as of now.
Okay. I tried to finish it just on time. We have 2 minutes. Okay.
Now we have Trailokya Prabhu who is waiting.
Dandavat Trailokya Prabhu, Vancha Kalpataruvashya Kipa Sindhavevcha Patitanam Pavanebha Vaishnavebha Namo Namo. This was the biggest challenge to put this 15th chapter in 1.5 hours. I never did in my life. It is impossible because so much information. It should take 1 month. But thank you for giving the opportunity, Jagannath Prabhu, Brajasundar Prabhu, because I had to concentrate what will be the most important things.
Well, this is only by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, and you are in proper guidance with Sannyas Ministry, who is helping you to conduct. I am just facilitating the technical support.
What? But you are doing wonderful service, Prabhu. I thank you for that. Thank you.
Pray so that we can do something for all the Vaishnavas.
Of course. I'll pray for you and you pray for me, and I'm begging mercy from all the Vaishnavas, Trilochan Prabhu also. Vancha kalpataruveshya kipa sindhavevcha patitanam pavanebha vaishnavebho namo namo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.